cut brisket. It's by Boar's Head. It's got plenty of fat in it. It looks like it's in, you know, it's going to be really easy to cook because it's not real thick. And they just tell you put it in the cut and cover it with water. Now, this does not have a seasoning packet in it, which means it's already seasoned. I am going to put it in my braiser, and because it's in the braiser, I won't cover it completely with water. But if you're going to use a pot like this or the crock pot, then you are going to cover it completely with water. Because this braiser has a really heavy lid, and Dutch oven's the same way, it's going to hold in the moisture. So what we're going to do first is we're going to mix up some beef broth, and I'm just going to put a tablespoon of beef granules in here and run it with hot water up to about 3 cups. So if you have to add more water to yours, that's fine. We'll mix that up good. So that's a teaspoon per cup of water, all right? And I'm going to open this up right into my braiser. I'm not going to rinse it or anything. It should be pre-seasoned. If you've got a seasoning packet with it, you can add that to your broth. We're going to add our broth to it. And that's all there is to it, y'all, to start it. I think it would be good to go ahead and put a small onion in here. Let me grab one. I'm just going to use a really small onion because all you need is it to be in there when it's cooking today. Now this is going to cook at a very low temperature on simmer for about 3 hours. And then we'll start adding our vegetables. Now some people go ahead and put in their vegetables, especially if they're making it in a crock pot. But I think you should wait until your beef is tender and then add your vegetables. And that way your vegetables don't get too overdone. You're going to cook this for 2 to 3 hours first. It's just according to how thick your brisket is, whether or not it needs to be 3 hours or 2 hours. Just cook it till it's nice and tender. Your carrots and potatoes can cook a couple of hours, while your cabbage should be only in here for about an hour at a low temperature, or 30 minutes would probably do it. So we're going to get a lid on it. I'm going to bring it up to a boil, then I'm going to turn it down to a very low, the lowest temperature. Our roast is pretty tender. It's been cooking for about 2.5 hours. And so we're going to get our vegetables in there. And then we're going to go ahead and chop up our cabbage and get it in there the last 30 minutes. So I'm just going to half the potatoes. And if they're kind of big, you can third them. Like this one's a little bit big. So these will cook in there close to an hour. Or just until they're tender. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take this packet out. And we're going to get our vegetables in there. Make sure they're down in there good. Get good and done. I'm going to go ahead and put a little pepper on them. I'm not sure how salty this is. I'm going to taste the broth and see. Okay, it's pretty salty. So we're just going to put a little pepper. And by the time these vegetables pull a little of that salt in them, then we're going to have some cabbage going on the top. I think it'll be just perfect. So these are going to sit in there and cook for about an hour, and we'll be back and throw our cabbage in, and we're going to start some Irish soda bread. All right, we're going to make some Irish soda bread, and pretty much it's like a biscuit. It's a quick bread. It's best to eat it the day you make it. I'm going to make a smaller recipe. I'm not going to make a huge recipe because I don't need 2 loaves. So I'm going to use 2 cups of self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising, then you need to add baking powder and salt. All right? Now we are going to, of course, need some soda because this is soda bread. I'm going to put a teaspoon in there of soda. Okay? I'm just going to mix this together real quick just to get that soda mixed in there. And then we're going to cut in some shortening. Some people use butter. Some people use shortening. I'm going to use shortening. We're going to cut that into our flour till it's about pea size, just like you would for a biscuit. If you want to, you can melt butter or margarine, whichever one you got, 1/4 cup, and use it in with your buttermilk. Just stir it up really good, and your egg, and then you don't have to cut in shortening, okay? You can omit the shortening and use butter instead and just melt it, all right? So what we're going to do is we are going to get out an egg. I'm going to beat up an egg with some buttermilk, about 1 cup. We're going to add it. We're going to add more liquid, more than likely. But we're going to do this one first and see how it's looking. That might actually do it. Might be perfect. Looks like it's going to be perfect, y'all. So that was a cup of whole buttermilk with 1 large egg. And that's going to make our soda bread good. I think it looks good. All right, I'm going to get me out a sifter. Let me move this out of y'all's way. And I'm going to sift the counter a little bit. And from this point, I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to put in some rosemary. Now, a lot of people use caraway, and I don't have any. So today, I'm using a little rosemary and dill. I think it'd go good with, our corned beef. Okay? So I'm just going to take my hand and mix this up good. And then we're going to get it out on the counter. All right, and it's not going to hurt for you to knead it just a little bit. I want it just a little smoother. Looks pretty. So then you're just going to make it into a circle. You're going to pat it a little bit, like that. All right, we're going to take a 10-inch iron skillet, and I'm going to grease it well. I'm going to sit this down in there, either side. Your smooth side's the best. I'm going to press it down a little bit. And you cut a slit in the top in the shape of an X, and that's mainly to keep the bread from splitting across the top. When it bakes, you actually split it instead of it splitting itself. All right? Some people do use raisins. They can make this like a sweet bread. If you do that, you're going to add a little sugar to it and some raisins or currants or something like that. But we're making our savory, all right, today. We're going to place it in the oven. It's going to bake about 40 minutes at 400 degrees. All righty. We're going to half this cabbage and get it in there with our other vegetables. Looks like, to me, that they're really close to being soft. And so this is only going to need to be in there about 30 minutes. So it's going to be ready once our soda bread is ready. So you want to time it about just right so that you'll be getting both of them out at the same time. And we're just going to slice it like this and lay it on the top. And it's going to steam it good. It's going to be delicious. All there is to it. Let's put a little pepper on it. All righty. Now we're just going to get our lid back on here. And by the time our bread comes out of the oven, this is going to be ready. And we're going to eat. It's going to be delicious, y'all. All right, we're going to get our bread out and butter it a little bit. Looks pretty. Now, it didn't take quite 40 minutes because I did make a 2-cup recipe. A lot of the recipes are a lot larger loaf, but to me, this is plenty unless you've got a big family, you know, just to eat with your meal, especially for me and Chris. Plenty for 4 or 5 or maybe even 6. So, all right. Smells good. Everything smells so good. So we're going to open this up. It looks really delicious. So I'm just going to scoot this cabbage over. I'll reach down in here and get my beef. And you want to cut it across the grain, not with the grain. So actually with this piece of meat, it's going to be the long way. Y'all, this is falling apart done. I don't think I'm going to have to slice it across the grain. We're just going to be able to eat it. But look, it looks good. Good and done. And tender. All right, so we're going to make us a plate. I'm hungry. It smells so delicious. All right, we're going to slice the bread. See it? Looks good. Taste it. That's good. I'm going to get us some corned beef on here. Cabbage. Carrots. Now, if you don't want everything boiled, like we boiled everything, you can always roast your potatoes in the oven. But it's so hot here today down in South Georgia, I didn't want the oven on all day. And that's why I didn't roast anything, except make the bread. It was quick to make the bread. So you're just going to get your bread on there. Use it to sop up this good juice. Man, I could make a feast just out of this bread. It is so good. We're going to get us a bite. That cabbage is perfectly cooked laying on the top like that. That's a delicious St. Patty's Day meal. I can guarantee you that. All right, me and Chris ate, and boy, was it delicious. And I have to tell you, and he has wanted me to tell you too, that you do not need to leave the bread off. And to make it savory like we did is just really good. It's super crunchy, and I slit the slits in it really deep, which made these crevices, makes it even crustier, all right? I think it's really good. Really, really good. Savory. Okay, a lot of the recipes you look up, you're going to find that they put sugar in them and they put raisins in it. And trust me, going with the meal we made today, there's nothing better than a savory, crusty bread. And this is what it is. Now, I didn't have caraway, and I used rosemary. And if you like rosemary, it's delicious. And I put some dill in it. It's just good. So we just wanted to let you know how good the bread is. This is a really good St. Patrick's Day feast. Well worth the time. Easy to make. Delicious to eat. Man, that's good. Our daughter Amy is down in Savannah working at one of the shops. Today's the 200th anniversary celebration of St. Patrick's Day down there, and boy, is it a big one. So, to all you St. Patty's Day guys and gals out there, happy St. Patrick's Day from Collard Valley Cooks. We wish you a blessed weekend. Thanks for watching. Love ya.